Hi, this is Mrs. Ramirez, your fourth grade teacher, and welcome to e-learning. It's going to look quite different from what it looked like in the spring with distance learning. But before we get to that, let me tell you a little bit about myself. This is my 15th year with FUSD. I started actually teaching when I was in high school. Can you believe it? I taught PE to elementary students, and it was so much fun that I decided that teaching was definitely what I wanted to do. Backtracking a little bit, I've taught first grade, reading intervention, fourth grade for the majority of my career, fifth grade and sixth grade. So I know where these fourth graders are going, so I want to make sure that they have the best fourth year possible so that they can go on to fifth and sixth and be successful. I love my family. You might see my kids around campus every now and then. The picture on the left is the beginning of last year, and the picture on the right is the last quote unquote school day of last year. Um, this is my husband and our two children last Christmas. And I love my pitties, my pit bulls. They are the sweetest cuddle bugs ever, and I love animals. I also love to garden in my spare time, and I have a mini forest growing in my backyard. So in my spare time, that's what I do. I tend to my plants. So this year's schedule is going to look like this. This on the left-hand side is a bit more simplified than what I sent through class tag. It just lets you know exactly when students are expected to be online and when they get a break. With my schedule, I included exactly what information, what academics are being taught during that time. Also, I recently received an email, so we will be having music every Wednesday from 8:40 to 9. So at 8:40, students need to log on. Probably have them log on around 8:35 would probably be better. Just make sure that they're online. They can get started on time because 20 minutes for music is not very much time, and they only do it once a week. That will begin, I believe, on the week of the 25th. So our first day for music would be on the 26th. All right, let's go ahead and move on. The programs that we're going to be using, we'll be using Teams mostly for communication and lessons. To communicate with parents, I'll be using class tag. Students to access their programs and all of their academics, I want them to log on to Clever, and it will have all of their information there. Please go to your room, baby. I'm trying to record. Thank you. And of course, that was my daughter, because you know how this distance, not distance, but e-learning is going to be. I do have my kids at home with me, so. Moving on, ELA, they'll be using Wonders. These icons are all clickable. This is their to-do list. When they click on that, they'll be able to see a list of things that they need to do. They have writing assignments here. They have games. They have the stories. I believe this is their progress monitoring, all that good stuff. For math, we'll be using Think Central. Often I call it TC for Think Central. It's also the Go Math curriculum. So Think Central and Go Math, it's the same thing. I would like them to start with an interactive, so that way they're clicking and they're going through kind of at their pace and learning the concepts for math, and then they'll do something that's more in-depth and strategic for whatever concept that they're learning, and that's called the personal math trainer, and that's the homework, quote unquote, but they'll probably be more than likely be doing it in class. And at the end of the lesson, I'll be assigning the quiz, the show what you know quiz, and it's usually 1 or 2 questions. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to student materials. Okay, so your students received a green bin. That green bin contains 2 ELA books, 1 Reader's Writers Workshop book, and 1 literature anthology, as well as a practice book. They received their first 3 chapters for Go Math, which are consumables, which means that they can write in those and they get to keep them. If we start back to school and we haven't gotten to chapter 3 yet, I would expect them to bring it back, hopefully, and if not, then I will make arrangements for them. They also have their science books, their hardbound science books, their hardbound social studies books, as well as their social studies practice books, which are also, they're able to write in those and keep those also. Some students who are English learners, they have another practice book in there, and all students also have an additional practice book for reading and writing. I believe it's called Closed Reading Companion, which it's more critical thinking. Also in their supply bins, I included a black pen for writing, so that way they don't have to worry about sharpening a pencil, and I included a blue pen for correcting. Also, they have a little goodie in there. There's a little temporary tattoo that's kind of my theme, my superhero thing. It just says boom or pow or bam. And also there's some color crowns and a response sheet, which I'll go over with students. I'm expecting them to keep their materials inside of these bins at home so that way they can stay organized. Speaking of organization, let's go ahead and go into my expectations. My expectations for students is for them to be on time. Granted, if a student is sick, you'll have to call the office and just let them know that they're not going to be able to participate in that day's learning, just as if they were absent and they couldn't go to school, go to the school site. But if they are in good health, I'm expecting them to be on time on their computer, ready to learn. I'm expecting them to participate, and I'm expecting them to charge their own devices every night. I'm expecting them to reach out and ask questions. Be organized. That's where those bins come in. That's what I've given them, given your students those bins for. I'm expecting them to go to bed at a decent time. I'm thinking as 4th graders, 8 to 9 p.m. would allow them to have enough sleep through the night to wake up well rested and ready to learn the next day. When students go to sleep at 10, 11 o'clock, or they stay up playing video games, it's very hard for me to get them engaged. So I really, really, really appreciate if they can get to bed at a decent time. And of course, I'm expecting them to get better. Wherever they are right now in a month, I'm expecting them to be better than where they are right now. I'm expecting them to be better in 2 months, in 3 months, and of course by the end of the year. Parents, my expectation for you is to ensure a quiet work area as best as you can for your child to learn. It's very easy to get distracted, let alone when you're at home and trying to learn. There's a lot of distractions. So just as an example, when my daughter came up, it's easy to get distracted. So please have a quiet work area for them, if at all possible. And reinforce student expectations. So reinforce, hey, you have school tomorrow, you've got to be online at 8:40 or 9 o'clock, whatever, depending on which day it is, you need to go to bed. It's 10 o'clock at night or whatever. Reinforce that. Make sure that they're getting to bed. When they're struggling with concepts, ask them, did you reach out to your teacher? Did you, chat in Teams and ask your teacher for help? Do you know where you can go for help? Did you go back and look at any videos that might be available? All that good stuff. And stay in contact with me. Let me know what's going on, and I really want to do the same for you. And of course, as this e-learning continues on, I'm expecting parents to get the hang of it and get better, just as I have that same expectation for myself. So my expectations for myself, I'm expected to engage my students. I want to make learning as fun as possible for them. I am going to reinforce student expectations. When I see them falling asleep in front of their computer, I will ask them, what time did you go to bed last night? Remember, it's your responsibility. You know you have school the next day. You need to go to bed earlier. And I'm expecting to stay in contact with you. I'm expecting to send you announcements, not just as a whole, but personally about your child and their progress, whether whether I'm seeing growth or I'm seeing areas of improvement. And of course, for myself, I'm expecting to get better at all this too. Okay, all right, let's move on. Discipline. There are still virtual levels of misbehaviors. A level 1, if it is repeated behaviors, even though it might be mild, teasing, taunting, for example, using curse words, if it happens again and again and again, that repeated level 1 behavior could become a level 3 behavior. I am going to try my best not to mute students. However, if they are being disruptive to the point where I can't teach, I will have to contact my administration and they might have to hop on while I'm teaching, or they might have to call you personally to let you know what's going on. If there's anything that I see that is inappropriate, I will have to disconnect that student for 5 minutes. And while I might have to give an assignment for my class and let them work on it, and then I'll have to mute myself and then, call a parent and let you know right away what's going on. Hopefully, I don't see any of this or any level 1 behaviors. I can talk to students and, privately and get it to the point where they understand that whatever it is that they're doing is not acceptable and they change it. Homework. So Monday through Thursday, I am not expecting to assign homework Friday nights or over the weekend during e-learning. Number 1, what they will need to finish for homework is any work that they was incomplete from the morning. So if I taught a lesson, I told them to do a practice book page and they didn't finish it, I'm expecting them to finish that first as their homework. I would like them to start doing typing club. That really helps out when they have to type up essays. Also extra math. I'll be assigning them multiplication. They have to know multiplication by the end of 4th grade. It is an absolute must. My husband's taught 5th grade going on 15 years also, and 5th grade is all multiplication, and if they know them verbatim, they're memorized, and they just pop into their minds, in 5th grade it's going to be so much easier for them. They will also be doing spelling and grammar games on Wonders, and I'll be assigning some ReadWorks passages, which they can access through Clever. They'll just be reading a short passage and answering questions about it. I have my code there for the class and their password. And then also I threw in there, do 1 to 2 chores without being asked. Set the table, clean the table, maybe make their bed, maybe pick up their room. But they're 4th graders and it's that time when they know what needs to be done around the house and they should start being able to perform those tasks without being asked. Grades. Grades are always available on Atlas. As long as I'm inputting them, I try to update them at least once a week. If you do not have access to Atlas or you're not sure how to do it, just reach out to me and let me know. Progress reports go out 4 weeks prior to every report card. So you'll be getting progress reports 4 times a year, and report cards go out every 8 weeks. So that's at the end of the quarter. So report cards you also get 4 times a year. The difference between a progress report and a report card is progress report means that they still have time to improve their grades if they want to. report cards are final. Additional information, these are key contacts. If you want to take a screenshot right now or take a picture of the screen, you can pause it and take a picture of that so that way you have it on your phone and you can dial these numbers when you need help. Also, Fresno Unified is asking if you could send back to school photos of your students learning virtually. And that is all that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching through this video. I really appreciate it. I know it was kind of long. Hopefully, if you missed anything, you can go back and play it again, or of course, you could have always paused it and come back to it when you had more time. Please contact me through class tag, or you can also email me if you have any questions. The best way to get a hold of me would actually be class tag, because that goes straight to my phone and I can see when you have notified me. If it's after business hours, please wait at least 24 hours to hear back from me. Thank you so much, and I'm hoping that this year is going to be amazing and wonderful. Bye.